Who knew that films about films, and particularly the greatest film of all time, could be so complicated? Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on my channel. Today I am talking about Mank. If you have seen my review video on Citizen Kane, which I will link up here, you will know that I watched Mank first without knowing the connection between the two. So just briefly, in case you haven't seen that video, I watched Mank, didn't get what it was about, didn't understand it, felt like a real fool, had to know if it was just me that was the problem. I finally watched Citizen Kane after having it on my list for a long time, then rewatched Mank. So I've seen it twice actually within just 2 days. I was so fascinated by the whole thing, it really consumed my weekend basically. So what is it about? Mank is a Netflix film by David Fincher, and he explores the idea of who actually wrote Citizen Kane. Because this seems to be in dispute, although research showed me at least that it is pretty clear and there's actually not that much to really doubt about it. This film tries to establish that Herman Mankiewicz, or shortened to Mank, the main character, is the sole writer of Citizen Kane. I must admit, please correct me if I'm wrong, my research shows it definitely was a collaborative effort between the two, so between Orson Welles and Mank. Doesn't seem to me as if one or the other really did the majority of the work, although it is pretty clear that they sort of drifted apart after this film was made, so whatever it was, they obviously did have unresolved issues. At least the research I did shows that Orson Welles definitely was involved a lot in the actual script. So, as far as I can tell, it's correct that both of them received credit for it. Anyway, this film tries to dramatise, fictionalise, obviously, many events that drove Mank, I'll call it, to write the script that he did, or at least the parts of the script that he did. Shows you his difficult life in Hollywood as a scriptwriter. So at the same time, while showing you the particulars about Citizen Kane, it is also a sort of film about films, a film about how Hollywood films are made or have been made in the past. I won't spoil the story here as per usual. I'm not into spoilers for my audience. I highly recommend that you watch it after seeing Citizen Kane, because in and of itself it's a good film too. So it's in black and white. One of the things you notice that I felt that all the surfaces felt very smooth. So I'm not too sure about what the actual camera work was, but I feel that they did particularly a lot just to make everything look very smooth, give it that sort of nostalgic feel of the 1930s and early 40s. I felt that was achieved brilliantly. So you really feel part of Hollywood back then. You have many flashbacks, so this is taken basically from Citizen Kane. You have many flashbacks, and generally, obviously, there are references to Citizen Kane. This is one of them. You have flashbacks, and to make it sort of fit into the film a bit better, you even have little titles typed in as if they were for a script, showing you exactly which year we're in, where we're at, just to make sure that you really know what's going on. Compared to Citizen Kane, where you have makeup going on to really pinpoint everything rather easily, that doesn't happen here because we're only talking about a few years in between. Makeup wouldn't do a lot, so that's why they type it in. I think that's a great choice. It really makes you know where you are, otherwise it would probably be a bit confusing. Gary Oldman does look a bit more dishevelled as time progresses, but still it's just not enough to really make it clear to you. David Fincher is obviously a magnificent director. As he is in this shot as well. I feel that I'd need to watch all of his films. I haven't seen all of his films, but what I like is he, I believe here, also tries to emulate Citizen Kane, because Citizen Kane, in my opinion, has got very nice composition. So every shot there's really thought about what do you want in the frame, what should be shown, and I feel that Mank has a similar approach. So every frame is really beautiful to look at, just the composition of it all. David Fincher definitely thought about what he wants to do with this. It's very nice and easy to follow the characters. That is one of his specialities. I actually saw a video on YouTube about this, how he likes to make his camera follow people. Something that is evident here as well, because you feel like you're part of what's happening on screen. You feel like you're there, you're in the group, you're living it as it is happening. So great direction here. Not a scene that I think is not necessary. Mank is a very complex character because he's very witty. I have the feeling that he's a person you'd love to be in a conversation with. He always seems to be the smartest person in the room, basically, at least by how he talks. But I'm actually glad I watched it 2 times actually, because sometimes it's difficult to follow the dialogue. You've sometimes got sentences being thrown at each other in quick succession, or you've got references going on to other things, maybe even in Citizen Kane. And so I felt, I'll be honest, I felt a bit silly during this film, a bit stupid, because I felt like I couldn't keep up quite all the time with everything that was going on. So a second watch, a rewatch, definitely helped me a lot. But yes, Mank, a complex character. So while he is a genius and he obviously can write great screenplays, he at the same time has got personal demons. He's a severe alcoholic. He's got those issues that really make life for him hard, both at home and at work. He's a gambler, which is shown throughout the films. There's pretty much no bet that he won't take. He'll do absolutely everything. That's shown very, very clearly. It's quite interesting, a bit like the reverse of maybe Citizen Kane actually. Over the years, he really develops these strong feelings for social justice, and this is one of the topics in the film, and this is more or less what Citizen Kane is about as well, of course. He focused this work on William Randolph Hearst, one of the big newspaper magnates, I'll call them, of the time, one of the richest people in America, who really controlled output of the media. Journalism particularly, of course. He tried to steer America in whichever direction he wanted to. This is something that Mank picked up on, and it's very, very clear. Once you see these parallels, once you've watched Citizen Kane and you watch Mank and you research it a bit, it's very clear that this is what the film is about. I mean, Citizen Kane, it's about this person and other people in the life of Mank. You're shown throughout the film many of the characters that would end up in Mank's script of Citizen Kane, and the film offers an explanation of why that was and how they affected Mank in a certain way. It's great, like I say, it is fictionalized of course, but I still think it's great to have a sort of connection. I know, at least with Mank, even if it's fictionalized, I know more about these people even in real life than before, where I hadn't even heard of them. So I am grateful for that. It is a great film. I do have certain issues with it. I felt it very weird because the age of the actors is something I really want to touch upon. It's something that isn't usually that important to me, but we're talking about real people here, and after having researched it, basically the majority of the main characters are at around 40, I believe. So you've got Mank, you've got his wife, and then you've got another woman who is William Hearst's. I don't believe she's his wife, she's basically his mistress, I suppose. But they're all around 40, so they all should be the same age. And then you have Gary Oldman, who I'm not quite sure, mid-60s? Is he maybe even 70 already? I'm not quite sure. I would say early to mid-60s, I believe he is. He's playing a 40-year-old guy, and while he obviously was in a bad health state due to alcoholism, I still don't believe it's quite fitting to have him portrayed by a 60-year-old. And then you have his wife. I was a bit confused, I must admit, because the actress they used for her is about 30, and so you've got a huge age gap between the two. It felt a bit weird to me on screen. Didn't really make sense. And then you have the mistress, like I say, who is also played by a 30-year-old. Although these 3 people, for instance, should all be at the same age. So that was a bit weird, particularly after having read up on the actual facts. So I'm not quite sure what the thoughts there were. I suppose that David Fincher just loves the actors and he absolutely wanted to use them. Okay, I think it could have benefited a bit more by trying to sort of align them all at around the same age, either by, I don't know, maybe using CGI to do some age stuff, maybe some makeup, I don't know. I just feel that it would have been a bit better. Seems a bit disrespectful to the actual people, I believe. But other than that, the acting is phenomenal. You have Gary Oldman. I love Gary Oldman. He does a great job as Mank. It's always very good to see him on screen. Can't have been an easy job to portray this person with all these demons and thoughts tumbling around in his head, and you can tell that he's a very, very at times complex character, not quite sure of his way. And at other times he's got such a clarity that it's actually quite hard to follow as the audience. You're trying to catch up with him, basically. I have a few homages to Citizen Kane in this film, of course. One I particularly like is, in Citizen Kane you have the bedroom scene where deep focus is used to show both foreground and background. It's sort of the side view of a double bed, and the double bed is actually one of the main locations in Mank because he suffers an injury to his leg, and while he is getting his health back, while his leg is healing, he is staying at this ranch and in this double bed. These shots really emulate the scene in Citizen Kane, so I quite like that. I really appreciated that. I thought that was great. One reason I watched this film was the music. The score was done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I myself am a Nine Inch Nails fan. I have enjoyed the work that these two have done previously, for instance on The Social Network. So I was really excited about this film because of that. And it is quite interesting. It isn't the soundtrack I expected of the two, I must admit. But I do agree that it's fitting because they tried to make their own contemporary music for the period that the film is set in. So the film feels absolutely genuine, as in they tried to really make music that would have been played and made at the time. Feels absolutely authentic. It's really great. It puts you in a great mood while you're going about. It's this Hollywood flair and style and the sort of fantasy land, I'll call it at times, while the story at times is quite dark and gritty, I'll call it, because again you have issues like alcohol and people being mistreated socially and other ways. The music really makes a good job to put you right there and sort of give you a wee taste of what it was like to be there. So while I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't industrial or something like that, musically it absolutely fit the film. Very good job. If you like those two and you like the music of that time period, 1930s, early 40s, you will definitely enjoy that here as well. Those are my thoughts on Mank. It's a good film, but again, could be, if you're like me, it'll be very difficult if you haven't seen Citizen Kane. When in doubt, watch it again. I did not dislike that at all. It was very enjoyable to watch it a second time, even after such a short period, because it also allowed me to pay attention to more of the direction that was going on and other things in the film. If you have seen the film, if you've seen it in connection or without connection to Citizen Kane, let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Did you have any issues with the film? Did you enjoy it? Tell me what your theories are on who actually wrote the script. If you want to, there's a huge amount of research you can do on the internet alone about this topic. Seems to be heavily in debates for decades now. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more review videos, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.